The road ended where the land met the sea. There was no sign, no barrier, just a narrow strip of gravel and the sound of water moving in the dark. You stopped the car and stepped out slowly. The night air was cool, carrying the faint scent of salt and damp stone. Ahead of you, standing alone against the sky, was the lighthouse. Its light moved in a slow, steady circle, cutting gently through the darkness. Never sharp, never hurried. You didn't remember planning to come here, but standing there now, it felt like the only place you could be. The sea stretched out endlessly, its surface barely visible, its movement calm and patient. Waves reached the shore quietly, then slipped back again, as if they were careful not to disturb the night. You began to walk toward the lighthouse. Your steps were slow, guided more by the rhythm of the waves than by any sense of urgency. The gravel crunched softly beneath your feet, the sound quickly absorbed by the open space around you. With each step, the light above seemed warmer, more familiar. The lighthouse did not feel distant. It felt welcoming, as if it had been watching the shoreline for a long time, waiting for someone to arrive. You reached the base of the tower and rested your hand against the stone. It was cool, solid, steady, the kind of steadiness that made you breathe a little easier without realizing why. Inside the lighthouse, the air was still and quiet. The thick stone walls softened every sound, leaving only a faint echo of the sea outside. A narrow staircase curved upward, its steps worn smooth by time. Each one felt familiar under your feet, as if many others had climbed them slowly before you. You began to ascend, one step at a time, without counting, without hurrying. The light from above moved across the walls, brightening, then dimming, then brightening again, in a slow and comforting rhythm. As you climbed, the outside world felt farther away. The road, the car, the day you had left behind. Everything unnecessary stayed below. Your footsteps were quiet, your breathing steady, the movement gentle and unforced. Halfway up, you paused for a moment, resting your hand on the stone wall. It felt unchanged, reliable, unmoved by time or weather. You continued upward, feeling lighter with every step, as if the climb was not effort, but release. At the top, the space opened into a small circular room. Simple, clean, calm. Wide windows looked out over the dark sea, the light rotating slowly beside you. You stepped closer to the glass, watching the beam sweep across the water, guiding ships you could not see through distances you did not need to imagine. You stayed there quietly, watching the light move again and again, never changing its pace. Outside, the sea responded with the same patience. Waves rolled in softly, then faded away, leaving the surface smooth once more. The lighthouse did not speak. It did not explain itself. It simply continued shoulders relaxed, your posture softened, your breathing slowed on its own. There was something comforting about knowing that this light would keep turning whether you watched it or not, that it would remain here through the night, guiding, steady, unconcerned with who noticed. You leaned gently against the wall, feeling the quiet strength of the tower around you, sheltering, unmoving. The room was warm, protected from the wind outside. Every sound felt distant now, as if wrapped in layers of calm. Your thoughts became simpler, shorter, less urgent. The movement of the light was enough to follow, enough to hold your attention without asking for anything in return. You allowed yourself to stay there, doing nothing else, while the sea and the lighthouse continued their slow conversation below. Eventually, you no longer followed the light with your eyes. It continued to turn, but you felt it instead as a steady presence, reliable and calm. The sea outside blended into a single, dark expanse. No sharp edges, no sudden changes. Inside the tower, time felt less defined. Moments stretched gently, one into the next. Your body felt heavy in a comfortable way, supported by the stone floor and the quiet space around you. There was nothing left to wait for, nothing left to check, nothing left to decide. The lighthouse would keep shining, the sea would keep moving, the night would unfold on its own. You rested there, letting the rhythm of the light and the distant waves carry the moment forward. If sleep came, it could come naturally. If wakefulness remained, that was fine too. The tower stood steady, the sea stayed calm, and the night held everything gently in place. You stayed a little longer, protected by stone and light, while the quiet sea moved endlessly below. After a while, you moved away from the window and followed a narrow doorway leading outside. A small balcony wrapped around the top of the lighthouse, open to the night air. The railing was cool beneath your hands, slightly worn, steady. The sea stretched endlessly below you, dark and calm, moving slowly as if it had nowhere else to be. Far out on the water, the lighthouse beam passed silently, touching the surface, then moving on again. You leaned gently against the railing, listening. The sound of the waves reached you softly, filtered by height and distance. No crashing, no sharp breaks, only a steady, rolling presence. The wind was mild, barely noticeable, carrying the scent of salt and open water. Nothing felt exposed here. Nothing felt unsafe. The height did not make you tense. It made you feel removed, as if the world had stepped back slightly. Below, the shoreline curved away into darkness. Above, the sky felt wide and open, with clouds drifting slowly across the stars. You stayed there quietly, watching the slow sweep of the light and the subtle movement of the sea, allowing the night to continue without interruption. The lighthouse continued its steady work, unchanged by your presence. The beam rotated again and again, each pass identical to the last. Reliable, unconcerned, patient. You noticed how comforting that consistency felt, how easy it was to trust something that did not change its rhythm. The sea responded in its own way. Waves rolled in, then pulled back, never rushing, never forcing their movement. You let your weight settle more fully against the railing. Your arms relaxed. Your shoulders dropped slightly. The night air felt smoother now, less cool, as if your body had adjusted to it completely. There were no distant boats to watch, no signals to follow, only open water and the quiet certainty that everything was exactly as it should be. Time felt stretched, but not endless, just slow enough to remove urgency. You could have stayed here for minutes or hours without noticing the difference. The lighthouse light passed once more, briefly illuminating the water below, then moving on, leaving darkness undisturbed behind it. Eventually, you stepped back inside the tower. The thick stone walls welcomed you again, muting the wind and softening the sounds of the sea. The interior felt warmer now, more enclosed, as if the lighthouse were holding the night at a distance. You moved slowly, unhurried, letting your footsteps echo faintly on the stone floor. There was a simple bench near the wall. You sat down, feeling the solid support beneath you immediately. The light continued to turn beside you, casting gentle patterns across the room. Light, shadow, light again. You watched it for a moment, then let your gaze drift without focus. Your body felt heavy but comfortable, resting without effort. Breathing came easily, quiet and steady. No need to guide it. No need to think about it. The lighthouse did not demand attention. It allowed stillness. It allowed pause. You realized how rare it was to be somewhere that asked nothing from you at all, and how natural it felt to simply remain, listening to the distant sea and the quiet movement of light. The night outside deepened, though you only noticed it by feeling, not by sight. The world seemed farther away now. The road, the car, everything beyond the lighthouse walls. Inside, the light continued its gentle rotation, steady and calm, as it had been all night. Your eyelids grew heavier, not suddenly, but gradually, as if they were responding to the rhythm around you. The bench supported you fully. The stone walls held the space in quiet balance. Nothing shifted, nothing changed. The sea remained a distant presence, soft and constant, never demanding attention. You no longer felt the need to watch, or listen closely, or stay alert. The lighthouse would keep shining. The night would continue unfolding. The sea would move as it always had. You allowed your eyes to rest, knowing everything important would continue, whether you noticed it or not. And in that steady, protected space, you drifted deeper into calm, while the lighthouse stood watch at the edge of the quiet sea. The lighthouse remained steady as the night moved on. The light continued its slow, patient rotation, casting one final arc across the sea, then another, never changing its rhythm. Inside the tower, everything felt settled, complete, as if nothing more needed to happen. You rested quietly, aware of the stone around you, the gentle presence of the light, and the distant movement of water far below. There was no ending to wait for, no signal that the moment was over, only a sense of continuity, soft and uninterrupted. The sea would keep moving, the lighthouse would keep shining, the night would pass at its own pace. You did not need to follow any of it. Your body felt fully supported now, heavy and calm, as if it had found exactly the place it needed to be. If sleep arrived, it would arrive naturally. If it had already begun, there was no need to notice. The lighthouse stood watch without effort, holding the edge of the land and sea in quiet balance, while you drifted gently onward, resting as the night carried everything else forward.